Hello and good morning, friends. Welcome to the CC Research Live Lecture. Dear friends, with a very successful elaboration of the topics under the series Human Resource Management, we have once again organized a lecture for you, and today we would be discussing on job analysis, job specification and job description. And for this very discussion on the topics, we have once again with us Dr. Namita Rajput. Dr. Namita Rajput is Associate Professor in Department of Commerce, Sri Aurobindo College, University of Delhi. I would like to tell you all that Dr. Namita Rajput has immense knowledge. Many of her articles have been published in reputed journals, and she has authored numerous books. Dear friends, let's take advantages from her experiences and let's try to understand more and more on the topics job analysis, job specification and job description. So, I would like to welcome our guest, Dr. Namita Rajput. Hello, ma'am. Welcome to the EduSet lecture.
Thank you, Kritika. So, today I'll be giving a lecture on job analysis. Job analysis is a very important activity which helps us in giving the insights of many other related activities. So, before starting with the job analysis, first let us have an insight of what job means. Job is a total work to be done and is divided into groups and packages. This is called as a job. So each job has a definite title based upon standardized trade specifications within a job. 2 or more grades may be identified where the work assigned may be graded according to skill, difficulty in doing them or the quality of the workmanship. Further, a job may include many positions. For a job is a job performed by related to a particular employee. So let us have now the concept of the job analysis. Job analysis is basically a process which helps us in determining and recording all the pertinent information relating to a job, including the task involved and the knowledge and the set of skill which is required to perform a job, the responsibilities attached to a job and the abilities required to perform the job successfully. So, job analysis helps us in differentiating one job with the other job, and it is also called as a job review and the job classification. So, as we have understood the concept of the job and the meaning of the job analysis is a basic, very important activity which helps us in gathering the basic pertinent information relating to a job, and on the basis of which we identify that what particular job means and how it is identified and how it is classified, because this is the basis for many other activities like how the job is to be performed, what are the basic qualifications to complete a particular job, to be placed on a particular job, and accordingly we have to have many other related series of activities which are a part and parcel of the job analysis. So, coming on to the definitional aspect of the job analysis. According to Edwin Flippo, job analysis is the process of studying and collecting the information relating to operations and the responsibilities of a specific job. So basically this particular definition which is given by the Flippo, it is basically concentrating on the aspect of that we have to collect the basic information about doing a job, the job specifications, the job description. That is, first you have to identify that what particular job positions are, and then to complete and place a particular job, a person on a job, then we have to identify that what particular qualifications are needed for that particular job to be placed as a right person and at a right place. So again, the definitional aspect needs more study in this case. The job analysis is a process of getting information about the jobs, especially what the worker does, how he does it done and why he does it, the skill, education and the training required, and the relationship to the other jobs, the physical demands and the environmental conditions. So as we can see from this particular definition, that there are so many activities which are interrelated and a part of the job analysis. That is, we have to understand about the skills which are required to complete a particular job, the education which is the prerequisite to be placed on a particular job, and what are the training required, because any Tom, Dick and Harry cannot be placed at any kind of a position. To be placed on a particular position, you need to have a particular mindsets, you have to have a particular skill sets, a particular education which is a prerequisite for a particular person to be placed on a particular job. So basically it is to complete the objectives, to acclaim and accomplish the objectives of the organization, and this is a prime activity on the basis of which many other series of activities depends. So job analysis, we have the two end products of the job analysis. The first is the job description and the other is the job specification. And the job analysis, as we can see from this particular slide, it provides the input for job descriptions, employee selection, training, performance appraisals, job classification, job evaluation and the job design. So this particular important activity is the input and is a consideration for so many other activities, like we need to select an employee. So according to which the inputs which have been given by the job analysis, we do these particular type of activities. We do the job classification on the basis of which the salary structure, the compensation policies are devised. Similarly, we have to do a job evaluation. Again, this is the basis job analysis is the basis for doing the job evaluation. Job evaluation is basically to find out the worth of a particular job. Like what is the salary given to a peon and what is the salary given to a manager. So this is a kind of an activity, we call it as a job evaluation, which helps us in identifying that which person is higher in hierarchy and whom has to be given more wages and whom have to be given the less wages. So similarly, the designing part of the job is also a byproduct and the outcome of the job analysis. So basically, as we have spoken earlier, that job analysis has two branches and the two byproducts. The first is the job description and the other is the job specification. So let us first talk about the job description. Job description, as the name suggests, it is taking care of the various parameters, the various paradigms and the various spectrum and the areas and the domain under which the job description comes. It is all centering around the concept of the job. So let us have a look on the job description first. So the job title, that is whether you are at a managerial position or at a lesser hierarchy position, is a part and parcel of the job description. Secondly, the job location, followed by the job summary, that is, this is your profile of a job and this is what, according to a particular outcome of the job analysis, this is what you have to do, and you have to report to X person, and these are the working conditions under which you have to perform a particular job, and followed by the job duties and the responsibilities and the obligations which a worker has to perform, followed by which particular machines he has to use, and again the hazards he has to see. So every parameter is centering around the job description. So once we have fixed upon the particular jobs and its various related parameters, then comes the job description. That is, we have stated the n number of jobs with particular titles, etc. Then to put and place a right person on that particular job, we need to have the prerequisite qualification and the set of skill sets which are necessary for an individual to be placed on that particular job which has been specified in the job description. So now we talk about the job specification. So the job specification centers around that what particular qualities, qualification, experience, the training, the skills, the responsibilities, the emotional characteristics and the intellect and the sensory demands. So the job specification is, on the contrary to the job description, centers around the human beings. That is, if you want to attain a particular job in an organization, these are the particular qualification, skill sets, etc. you have to be well embedded with. If you are not having those particular type of qualifications with you, or the particular skill sets with you, or the emotional intellect with you, you are disqualified to be on a particular job. So as we have analyzed the concept of a job, in the job we have categorized the particular similar activities which you have to do. So there are specific classifications of a job and the activities which a worker has to perform, and primarily the main areas of the job analysis is of two byproducts of the job analysis. One was the description and the other was specification. The description centers around the concept, the title, the working conditions, the reporting activities, the job duties, the machines to be used by a worker in an organization, whereas the specification deals with the particular qualifications which are primarily prerequisite to join that particular job title which has been fixed in the job description. So these are the two vital activities on the basis of which there are other series of managerial activities which depend upon. So this is a kind of an activity which has to be very carefully and rationally done with all kind of scientific calculations into it and all kind of primary survey from the competitive industry is concerned, from the environmental aspects are concerned. So we have to gather a various and the vital information from the environment, and then we can do a job analysis, which is a very important and the vital activity of the modern contemporary organizations, because it is a prime step on the basis of which the other particular activities of the organizations are concerned. So why do we do the job analysis? Let us have the question and the answer of this particular question. Since it is a very scientific activity, it is a very time consuming activity, so we need to know the answers that why are we engaged into this kind of a big activity called a job analysis. So let us have a series of the concept of the objectives behind doing a job analysis. Now job analysis, basically it is a process which defines the duties and the skills which is required to do a particular job. Hence it specifies the activity and the accountability of the job entails. So here first we talk about the title of the job, and then we talk about the duties to be performed by an individual, and then we talk about the qualifications which are required to complete a job. So as you can see from this particular diagram, on the top of it we have the activity called the job analysis. Then job analysis has got the two parts, the job description and the job specifications. And then of course the job analysis is basically concentrating on the three activities: the recruitment and selection, the job evaluation, that is finding the worth of the job, and the training requirements, which is again a prime activity under the job analysis. Because if you find the persons equally capable and qualified, you are placing that individual on that particular job. But yes, that if the person needs the training and development, then these activities are placed and in the line so that the individual is enriched and he can now take care of and concentrate on the job which is assigned to him, provided he has the qualification and the skill sets with him. Then of course we do the performance analysis. So you can see that all these vital activities, be it relating to recruitment selection, be it related to job evaluation, and be it related to training requirement, all these things are under one umbrella which is called as job analysis. So it is a prime activity on the basis of which these vital activities are based, and finally we do the performance appraisal. So let us have the description of these particular objectives which we have done at a glance, and in detail we will be doing the objectives of job analysis. So let us have the first objective, which is called as the job description. Now job description, as has already been defined, it concentrates on the title of the job, the duties which that particular job is for, he has to report to which human being in the organization and who is the boss of that particular. So we basically collect all the pertinent information which is related to that particular job, the reporting activities, the duties which he has to perform for a particular and a specific job, and it helps in differentiating the one job from another by presenting the distinctive characteristics of each job. So this job description is primarily the first aspect on the basis of which we do the job analysis. And this is the basic rationale behind doing the job analysis, that we have to do and describe about the job. And this is of course the preliminary activity, that once we know about the n number of jobs which are to be performed in the organization, then we give the specification and the qualification set of skills, etc., for that particular job position to be filled by a recruitment or a selection activity. Then we have a job specification. Once we are having the titles with us, we have the particular pertinent information relating to the title of the job is concerned. Now we have to find out that yes, this particular job can be done by which individual and under the what capacity. Because every individual is unequal in this contemporary era. Some people have more funds with them, more resources with them, and their upbringing is like a king. So they have the basic access to all the resources of the organization, and they are, well qualified, and they can take the opportunity of the all basic and the modern activities which are a part of the modern society. Now comparing it with those people which are underprivileged, they are not having the access to the activities, the modern activities, because they do not have the funds with them. So owing to these particular factors and under this particular backdrop, we can say that the opportunities which is coming to all individuals are different, which makes them unequal. Some people are more qualified and some people are less qualified. Some people have a particular set of skills, whereas the others are not having those particular skills. So this particular job specifications is again centering around those activities that yes, if the job title is fixed, what are the basic requirements, basic qualification, the set of skills which are necessary for that particular job to be filled and the vacancy to be filled by that particular individual who is having and who is well embedded with all these activities and all those qualification and the skills sets which are fixed under the job description. So these are the two vital activities and the vital objectives owing to which we do the job analysis. Again, let us have a recap. The first was job description and the second is the job specification. Now coming on to the third most important objective of job analysis, that is the job evaluation. Job analysis also provides the information which is necessary for assessing the worthiness of a job, the worth of a job, the value of the job. Job analysis also assists for evaluation of the actual performance against the preset standard and the highlights of any deviation exist. Additionally, it helps to establish the value of the job in hierarchical order, which permits to compare the different jobs. So now let me explain this concept, that when you talk about the job evaluation, it helps us in knowing about the worth of a job. That is, whether this particular job is again higher in hierarchy or lower in hierarchy 1. 2, it helps us in determining whether the standards which have been fixed under the job activities which have been done under the job analysis, whether you are able to achieve the predetermined objectives or not. The deviations could be positive, it could be negative. So we have to find out the basic insights of the negative deviations and the positive deviations, and this is all coming under the umbrella of job evaluation, because this is the final outcome of the job evaluation, that you are trying to find out the worthiness and the value of a particular job of the modern contemporary organization. Now coming on to the fourth objective of job analysis, which is called as work simplification. Job analysis provides the information relating to a job which makes the job very simple. Work simplification refers to dividing the job into small parts, which helps in improving the job performance. So basically, work simplification is primarily the main objective of the job analysis, because it helps us in providing the information relating to a job which makes the job very, very simple. Because in advance, you know that this is the kind of the job which the workers have to perform, and these are the prime duties and responsibilities which he has to perform. And finally, you're breaking the job into very small parts, and so that it becomes comparable and it becomes very easy for the evaluation in the future. And it also helps in improving the further performance of the organization. Now, the next objective of the job analysis is the setting up of the standards. Now, standard means the result or the performance expected from a particular job. Job analysis helps in establishing the information about the standard of each job. Now, this is how we do the job analysis, that we fix up the standards and the objectives in advance, which becomes the benchmark and the comparison condition on the basis of which we compare the actual performance. And of course, we have to find out the deviations, which could be positive, it could be negative. Now, the outcome of the positive and the negative deviation could be a feedback and a feed forward, like we have to change maybe the objectives, or maybe we are underrating ourselves, or maybe we are overrating ourselves. But yes, these are very important activities to set up the actual and the ideal standards which is good for the organization in the future approach. Then of course, the sixth objective of the job analysis is the support to personal activities. Job analysis provides an aid to various personal activities like recruitment, selection, training and development, and the performance appraisal. So, job analysis is a facilitator for the basic human resource activities which are contemporary, which are meaningful in the contemporary organizations and which are quite meaningful in the modern organizations also. The yester organizations also were doing these activities, and the modern organizations are also into all these activities. So, these are the prime activities which are always and have been important and will be important in the coming years. That is the selection, recruitment, training, development, and the performance appraisal. So, all these activities, they are facilitated if we have done the job analysis in detail, because this gives us the very important and the pertinent information which helps in strategizing and making the policies in the future. So, let us now come on to the advantages of the job analysis. Now, job analysis, as we have discussed, is a very important and the vital activity and is at the nucleus of the organization, because this is a base for many other related activities of the organization, like how much we have to pay, the wage structure, the compensation structure, the qualification sets, and the selection and the recruitment. All these activities basically are depending upon that how deep job analysis which has been done scientifically and in a planned and a structured way in the organization. So, now let us come on to the advantages of job analysis. The first is it helps in selection and recruitment. Information relating to role, responsibilities, knowledge, skills, etc. It helps in hiring the right people on the right job. The job analysis helps the personnel manager in recruiting and selecting the right people on the right job. The second is it helps in determining the scope of the training. The job analysis provides information on input required for an employee to progress from one stage to another, which can be utilized to design training and development programs to prepare employee for promotion and higher responsibilities. So, we have seen the two types of advantages on this particular slide, that is it helps in the basic activities of selection and recruitment, because whatever you have decided and whatever you have done in the activity of the job analysis, that is you have decided upon on the titles of the job, how many people do you require in terms of the human resource planning, what particular qualification and the skill sets you need for that particular job to be filled, either through the internal sources or through the external sources. So, now we have to find out that how many people are rightly recruited and rightly selected. So, job analysis is the basis which helps us in doing this. Secondly, this is a scope for the training also, because you have the inventory skill with them, and you know how many people are well equipped with the qualification and the skills, and what kind of further skills are required for the human beings to become a further resource for the organization. So, you design and devise particular training and development programs which would help in optimizing the cost of the company, and not only that, also helps in increasing the productivity of the personnels. Then it helps in the job evaluation, that is it helps in following the worth of the particular job. Followed by it eliminates the distortion of the chain of command, because it helps in avoiding the overlapping of authority responsibility relationships to eliminate the distortion of a chain of command. Then it also helps in sketching the compensation plans, it is basically used to find out and sketch out the compensation structure of the organization, but it involves a lot of cost for the organization. So, if it is the job analysis is done and is rightly done, it helps in optimizing on the compensation policies also. Then of course, it helps in the performance appraisal also, because you have set up the standards in advance. So, now you are comparing the actual performance with the standard performance and trying to find out the deviations. So deviations demands the corrective action either in a positive way or in a negative way. Then followed by the good industrial relations, that everything is a crystal clear, and it helps in forming us a very crystal clear hierarchy structure in the organization, which has a very clear authority responsibility structure. So everyone knows what particular job you have to do and how you have to do, you're responsible for whom. So basically the chain of command is not broken and the orders are coming from your superiors only. So there's no ambiguity and confusion in the organizational structure. And not only this, it also ensures the safety for the organization. So now coming on to the process of the job analysis, we have to define the objectives first, followed by we have to prepare the analysis of the job, then we have to design the job description and job specifications, and then we have to control the job descriptions and the job specifications. So job analysis is a process of collecting the information relating to various facets of the job. It also analyzes the information related to the job description and job specifications. So following are the steps. The first is we have collected the important information, we review the information, then we select a particular job to be analyzed and we do a deep analysis of a job followed by job description, which we have already discussed in detail, and followed by the job specification. So now we are coming on to the examples, which is like of a sales manager. The sales manager will help us in making a main job and the task and the responsibilities. That is, you have to devise the sales strategies to them, you have to set the individual sales target with the sales team, you have to delegate the responsibility for the customer account, we have to coordinate with the sales action plan, you have to overall see the activities and the performance of the overall sales team, you have to ensure that the necessary resources to perform are properly there or not, you have to monitor the sales objective, and you have to liaison with the main functions, that is the sales objectives. You have to evaluate the performance of the sales job followed by the feedback and the support and the coaching by the sales team. You have to plan and direct the sales team training, of course, because if they need the training, you have to embed them with good amount of training and development programs. You have to assist the development with the sales presentations and proposals, because they have to exhibit themselves that whether they are doing well or not, followed by the track records. You have to interpret their sales figure, that is whether their sales are going up or they are going down. You have to forecast about the sales revenue, you have to generate the sales report and develop the pricing schedule strategies. Then of course you have to overall coordinate the ideas, the materials, the conventions, the opportunities, and cultivate the effective business relationship with the executive decision makers in the key accounts. So of course you have to find out now the education and the experience part of it, that is the business degree which is related, the professional qualifications which is required, the technical sales skills which are important to be embedded with. Of course they have to have the experience in relation to the customer relationship management, the knowledge of the market research, experience in managing and directing a sales team, and the relevant product and the industry knowledge, followed by the experience with the relevant software applications. So these are very, very important for a job description of a sales manager. So this was one example which was a part of my lecture. Similarly, you can have n number of job analysis of any kind of a human which is a part of an employee of the organization, be it a sales manager, be it an advertising manager. But yes, the packages and the role responsibilities will be very particular to and related to that particular job only. Thank you so much. A very good afternoon to everyone. So this particular lecture will be centering around the techniques of job analysis. We have done the concept and the meaning of the job analysis in the earlier lecture. So let me give you a recap of the job. What do you mean by job analysis? Now, particular job means that when you classify the activities into a related aspects, and then of course we do the deep analysis of the particular job title, the qualifications which are required, the salary to be given, the reporting framework of that particular individual who is reporting to what, and the chain of command structure, and of course the role responsibilities which are very much important for that individual to perform under the particular framework. So we have done the job description, that is, which is centering around the concept of the job, and the job specification, which is specifically related to the qualification and the skill sets which are very important and required for an individual to be embedded with. Only then he will be placed on a particular job title. So how this particular job analysis technique is done? So this is now focusing on the particular techniques of the job analysis, which is again a very important aspect of the modern contemporary organizations, because since it is a very vital activity, any lapse on this part can actually bear a lot of cost to the organization. So let us now do the techniques of the job analysis. Although there are various methods of collecting the job analysis information, however, selecting the one or a combination of more than one method rests on the requirement and desires of the organization. Choosing a suitable method also depends on the structure of the organization, hierarchical levels, responsibilities, and the duties involved in the job, etc. Thus, before implementing any methods, all the benefits and the drawbacks should be scrutinized properly. And now we'll be discussing few important techniques of the job analysis. So let us first discuss about the observation method. Now, as the name suggests, the observation method is a subjective method in which the employer and the individual who is responsible for overall surveillance of the organizational activities, they observe the employee, that how is he working, whether he is working and putting his heart and soul into it, or he is escaping the work, and putting a comment on that particular individual. So it is a full of subjectivity method. So but let us now do this particular technique in detail, and of course we'll be doing the positive and the negative aspects of the observation method, followed by the other series of method which the organizations of today adopt. So observation method, under this method a job analyst notices an employee and records his performance. Number one, the fulfilled and the unfulfilled responsibilities and the duties are taken care of. The skills and his mental emotional abilities also are a part and parcel of this method. Then skills and his mental emotional ability, that is his emotional imbalance or balance, is very important for the observation method, because this will carry a similar negative spillover onto his professional life. All these activities, that is basically the emotional intelligence, is a kind of a control which an individual must have on his emotions, because we all are living our personal lives also and the professional lives also. So when you compare the professional and the personal life, these are not watertight compartments. What we have feeling and what we are actually doing at our home places or at home front, they have a direct spillover on our professional life also. So a good individual is that who is able to control this kind of an emotional overall balance in his life, so that there is no negative outcome of his emotional instability on the performance of his professional life. Then there is a possibility that the entire process and the results thereby may contain a personal biasness and therefore may not yield the genuine results. These anomalies can be taken care of through proper training of the job analysis. And I would like to highlight here that every individual is different from one another. What I feel, you may not be feeling that. So overall, if I am asked to overall have a surveillance or a complete monitoring of an individual or an employee of an organization, that whether he's doing the good job or he's not doing the good job. So my inferences and my conclusions may be different from your conclusions, because I'm coming from a different background with a different kind of mindsets and with a different kind of a qualification. So my way of interpreting the conclusion and the inferences may not match with yours. So that is why we say that this particular method is not that good, because there is a proper room for the whims and fancies of an individual, because we have a room for the personal biasness according to which we would rate the individual, that whether he is a skilled, whether he is able to fulfill his duties well or not. Now this method contains 3 techniques. The first is your direct observation, the second is your work method analysis, and the third is your critical incident technique. The first method consists of direct observation and recording of behavior of an individual in the direct circumstance. So this is perhaps the most important and a very easy method, which seems very easy, but although it may be affected by a lot of criticism of the organization, but yes, direct observation method is perhaps the direct observation of an individual, that how is he performing in an organization, and drawing the inferences and conclusion on the basis of the direct observation which you make while he is working in the organizations, followed by the work methods analysis. This is basically you study the time and the motion of an individual, that is how much time an individual takes to complete the work, and about his body movements, which is also very important. So time and the motion study would also give us the important inferences and the conclusions about an individual, whether he is an efficient worker or an inefficient worker. Then followed by the critical incident method, which is of course a very important method of recognizing the work behavior that results in particular performance. We are all affected by our mood swings, and we are all affected by certain incidents which take place in our lives, whether in professional life or in personal life. So they become the critical incidents. Or maybe a particular question is asked to an individual which is very critical and pertinent for the organization, and the behavior of the individual or an employee is observed. So all these 3 methods, they are under the observation method. The first was direct observation method, followed by the work study, in which we study the time and the motion movements of an individual, and the last is the critical incident method, which is also the incidents and the behavior of an individual is caught after that particular incident is floated in the organization. So all these methods, they are coming under the observation method. Now coming on to whether this particular observation method is suitable in all circumstances or not, let us see this. The observation method of job analysis is suited for jobs in which the work behaviors are observable, including some degree of movement on the part of the incumbent, or a short period of time, or a significant part of a job can be observed in a short period of time, or the job in which the job analyst can learn information about the job through observation. Now jobs in which the observation method is very successful include the machine operator / adjuster, the construction worker, the police officer, the flight attendant, the bus driver, the housekeeping, and the skilled craft worker. So we have given n number of examples under which this particular method of observation is very suitable. Now coming on to the second method, that is the interview method. So interview means a one-to-one interaction of the employer and the employee under various circumstances, and in this backdrop we will decide and draw the inferences. So interview method is basically a method in which an employee is interviewed. So he comes up with his own working styles, particular skills, techniques while performing his job and anxieties and doubts about his careers. So this method helps the interviewer know what precisely an individual thinks about his or her own job responsibilities involved into it. So here I would like to explain this particular method. That is, a few open-end questions and the closed-end questions are in front of the employee, which are asked by the interviewer, on the basis of which we draw lot of inferences and conclusions. Now of course there are certain set of questions which will have a deep insights and help us in drawing certain insights about an employee. Like for example, he's asked about the role responsibilities which he is being assigned to. So the particular questions will be relating to it. Are you satisfied with your job particular title and the role responsibilities? And his particular advices are being sought in this particular interview. So this is a very important and the pertinent point on the basis of which the inferences would be drawn, and sometimes the interviews are structured, that is a particular set of questions would be asked, and sometimes it is unstructured. The structured and the unstructured interviews both are very important to unveil his personality in many various parameters and paradigms and various frontiers, which is very important for the strategies and the policy makers of the human resource management, because they would give us the complete insight of and the psychology behind an individual, that is how he thinks, why he thinks, and under what circumstances he thinks. And basically we would try to go on to the roots of the psyche of an individual, asking about the various questions which are the part and parcel of the structured and the unstructured interview of an employee. So coming on to this method in detail, the role and the purpose of the interview give a structure to an interview. The interviewer gives usually a questioning strategy to explore the work and the job holder he performs. Listening and taking notes are also very important when he is giving the interview, because this enables us to have a follow-up of the questions to be posed on him. The questions and responses with the summaries enable the interview to be controlled, because when you ask a set of questions from the interviewee by the interviewer, so you try to have a feedback and a feed forward, and you try to jot down the basic points which have been answered by an individual or an employee. And to have the summary of what he thinks, his opinion and his opines are very important to be controlled, because if you summarize his points, it will be very easy for the interview to be under a controlled framework. So that is why we do a summary part of it side by side, followed by the unstructured interview, which involves a lot of questions and responses which may not be free flowing, but yes, it comes in a structured in the sense that the interviewer has a purpose and a need skills to be established and a relationship to be developed, and he would ask a very well set of questions which are definitely unstructured but which are factual, which are opinion based, which are full of subjectivity and objectivity and the various aspects which is centering around the job only, not to his personal life. After having, because we already know from which background he is coming, the demographic profiles are already known to the interviewer, but yes, what is unknown is his psychology and how he will take up the work in an organization. So these things and the responses are heard and they are understood, and the careful listening is given to them, and finally it will be reflected in the summary part. Now, effective listening is primarily the most important jewel which the interviewer must wear, because the less you speak, the more you are heard. There is a saying. And if you keep on pondering the questions after the questions to the interviewee, then he would be confused. So you should give ample chance for him to answer one set of questions. But yes, that question should be very comprehensive, and it should be having a well structured way of asking and enveloping the answers which you are expecting from the interviewee. Then the structured interviews. The structured interviews may assume a particular definite format, which is definitely about the sequence of the activities which are related to his performance and related to our job. Then an inventory or a questionnaire may be used here, and he would be given a very simple set of questionnaire which he has to answer, and a very careful interactions are done after that, because a specialist analyst is not involved and participants need to know what they are doing and why and what is expected as a result. When you have unstructured interviews, then the interviewer and the interviewee, they are having a very fast interactions and they can exchange the views and the opinions side by side. But yes, when the interview is a very structured interview, Simply a questionnaire would be given to them, so they do not know the level of expectation and the level of answers which they are expected out of the questionnaire. So the questionnaire must be very carefully devised, and a pre-testing of the questionnaire must be done in advance, because it is very important, because so many interviewees, they are very confused that to what extent they have to answer and what exactly they have to answer. Is it that what they think they should write, or is it what the organizations expect they should answer? So there's a big query on this. So when you come on to a very structured interview, the questionnaire should be properly devised and carefully done, and a pre-testing of the questionnaire is preliminary and a prerequisite for the structured interview to be successful. Now, what are the outcomes of an interview? The interviewing is very flexible method for all levels and for all types of jobs, because you can manipulate the questions, you can add the questions, you can delete the questions, you can expand the questions, and if there is a query, it can be solved there and then, because there is a direct interaction between the interviewer and the interviewee. An interview may focus on a hypothetical job, might involve and generate a descriptive data and enable the job holders to interpret their activities. A good interviewer can probe these sensitive areas in more depth, and the structured questionnaires cannot easily do so. The job holders can give interviews of their work and often their perceptions and the feelings about their job and the environment. The rigid questionnaires tend to be less effective, whereas more effective aspects of the works are concerned. So coming on to the analysis part of the interview method, that once you go in for an interview method for collecting the pertinent information relating to the job analysis, then this is very, very important that you must have a combination of the structured interviews as well as the unstructured interviews. The unstructured interviews are more important as you compare it with the structured, but yes, both the structured and the unstructured interviews, they have their own advantages and their own disadvantages. The structured interviews are very important when the one type of and the uniformity of the answers are required, whereas, and if you talk about some kind of unstructured interviews, then of course the interview can be molded and it can be more flexible, and you are supposed to manipulate or do anything about the questions which have been asked, because there is an ample scope that if I have a query and if I am an interviewee, I can ask you that yes, what are you expecting from and what should I answer, in what paradigm, in what depth, in what route. So this becomes easier. So as a matter of fact, if you want to make this particular interview method as successful, we should have a combination of both the structured interviews as well as the unstructured interviews, depending upon which type of information you require. Now, however, the information from the different interviews can be hard to bring together. There is a potential for the interview biasness. Certain areas of the work may fail to be picked up. An interview may stress one area and neglect the others. And there are problems in the interpretation and the analysis with the possibilities of distorted impressions. The subjectivity of the data captured need to be considered, and the interviewing as a sole method of job analysis in any particular project has disadvantages. Interviews are time consuming and the training is needed, and the co-counseling may remove the analyst and enable the job holders to discuss the work between themselves. Through inexperience, however, they miss items and there is a natural problem of the people, but establishing and maintaining a rapport between each other during an interview. So as we have seen from the interview method that there are certain limitations of the interview method, because you may highlight one issue, but yes, the other issue is completely neglected. So this is one way of saying that this is not a very comprehensive and a good and a complete method for drawing the information which is pertinent to job analysis. Yes, this can be supplemented and complemented with any other method of the interview. And of course, there are certain areas of the work which we fail to pick up, and there are certain areas which are completely neglected. And of course, there is one thing which I would like to highlight here, that when the interviews are done, there is a strong room for the biasness, because if I carry a very good relationship with my boss, so of course he would be interviewing me in my own way and he wants the interview to be good. But yes, if there are certain problems in the relationship of the employer and the employee, employee, then the interviews would be directed and molding in their own way. So what we are, the outcome which is there and for which the interviews are conducted, the basic purpose of the interviews is a big failure in that case. So that is why we say that there is a strong room of subjectivity and is also full of biasness. So to make it unbiased, we have to have a combination of both structured as well as the unstructured interviews. So let us now have the technique of the job analysis, which is through the questionnaires. So let us now find out what the questionnaires are. It is another commonly used method in getting the questionnaires filled from the employees, though this method also suffers from the personal biasness. A great care should be taken while outlining the questions. In order to collect the true information, the management should effectively communicate to the employees that the data collected will be used for their own good. So it is vital to ensure that the information collected won't be used against them in anyhow, and if it is done improperly, it would be absolutely a wastage of time and money. So when this particular technique of the job analysis has to be implemented and the important information relating to the job analysis is to be done, we have to prepare the employees that this questionnaire you have to fulfill, and whatever answers you will fill and whatever answers you will tick, because there are certain multiple choice questions, there is a tick questions of yes and no, and there are the opinion questions again in which the opinion of the employee is asked. So there are a lot of aspects which are questions in front of this questionnaire method. So questionnaire method, it is the prime responsibility of the employer to find out that the employees answer in their own way, and they have to be trained in advance that whatever information they give will be used for their own self and for their own good. So another technique of the job analysis is the diaries. It can be at times very helpful to ask the employees to complete a diary that specifies their assignments and what they are doing. Although a very useful as a remote data collection tool, but sometimes it can be difficult to analyze the information mentioned in the diary. So this kind of a method, which is called as the diary method, is also prevalent these days, but yes, it is a kind of a supplementary tool, not a standalone tool, because this is not very good method. Here we give a flexibility to the employee that they just have to fulfill that what are they doing, what kind of role responsibilities are they performing, what are their ongoing projects, and what are their future projects which they want to undertake. So filling of the diaries and analysis of the diary again is a very difficult task. You're not able to draw the proper inferences and the conclusions, which are very important for the job analysis. And the next is your job analyst performs the job. A much unstructured technique where the analyst trains to perform the job as a means of finding the key demand that the role makes upon the employee without getting the other people involved. So the job description is based on the information obtained through the job analysis. It clearly recognizes and spells out the responsibilities of a particular job. It also comprises the information about the working condition, tools and equipment to be used by a prospective workers and hazards involved in, knowledge and the skills desired, and its relationship with the other positions. The job description is a broad, general and a written statement of a particular job based on the information obtained through job analysis. It generally includes the duties, responsibilities, scope, working conditions of a job along with the job title and the designation the person has. So job description commonly forms the basis of the job specification. Now coming on to the contents of the job description here, job identification, the job summary, the job duties and responsibilities, the working condition, that is the physical environment like noise, fumes, dust, the machine, tools and the equipments to be used, who is going to supervise you, and the relationship of the other jobs. So this is the main purpose of the job description, is to gather the job related data in order to advertise for a specific job. It also helps in attracting and pursuing the recruitment selection and the right kind of candidate for the right job. Some of its main purposes are, it tries to determine what needs to be carried out in a particular specific job. It also explains what employees are supposed to do if shortlisted for a particular job. It gives a clear-cut idea to the recruiting staff that what kind of candidate is required by a particular department to do a particular job. it also spells out that whom he has to report. So a lot of job description and specification has been discussed in detail, which is a part and parcel of the job analysis. So this activity has to be very rationally done, because all other important, vital and the important related activities are depending upon the information which is drawn from the job analysis. Thank you so much.
With this note, thank you, ma'am. Thank you so very much for giving us a very, very productive session once again. And dear friends, as we always say, that your feedback is very, very important for us. So keep giving your feedback as well as your questions, your suggestions at info.cc@nic.in. We would love to solve your queries the next time when Dr. Namita Rajput visits our studio. So keep watching us, keep giving your feedback, and yes, the lectures are there for you on YouTube. This lecture is going to be uploaded on YouTube very soon. We would be meeting again tomorrow. Till then, take care. Goodbye. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so very much.